Hi guys, today we'll be discussing a little about the Lower Ohio watershed. West Virginia has about 32 major watersheds, and Lower Ohio watershed is one of them. It's given by the code E5090101. Now, West Virginia has over 9,000 streams that cover over 32,000 stream miles. And because it gets a little tedious to manage all of them, the state divided them into 32 watersheds based on the hydrologic regions as well. The Lower Ohio watershed is situated in the western region of West Virginia, which starts all the way from Wayne County in the southwest and goes up to Mason County in the northeast. It has four counties: Wayne, Mason, Cable, and Putnam. Mason and Cable contribute to about 95% of the total area for this watershed. Some of the major tributaries to the Lower Ohio watershed include the Crab Creek, Flatfoot Creek, 16 Mile Creek, 18 Mile Creek, Guen Creek, Guen Dot Creek, 4 Pole Creek, and the 12 Pole Creek. Now, as you can see on the right here, I have a map of West Virginia, and it's been divided into 5 regions, and this is according to the West Virginia DEP. And the purple region is what we have here, is where the Lower Ohio is situated, and that belongs to Region 5. And here is a zoomed in illustration of the Lower Ohio watershed. Now, according to EPA, just US EPA, this watershed is also referred to as the Raccoon Simes. This watershed lies between inside two ecoregions. The majority of it, which is about 91%, is contained within the Western Allegheny Plateau, and the rest 9% is situated in the Central Appalachian ecoregion. It includes 2 wildlife management areas and 1 national wildlife refuge. Now, the Lower Ohio River watershed has a total population of about 54,081 people, and the largest contributor to this is Huntington, which has about 49,138 people living in this region. The majority, 67% of the watershed, is covered by forest area. 13% of it is being cultivated. 13% of the land is again developed, while just 7.8% is categorized as impervious surface area. And then the surface geology in this region is predominantly sandstone and shale, which contributes to about 82% of the whole region, while the remaining 18% is comprised of alluvium. The majority of this watershed is used for public water supply, and 3 facilities are making use of this watershed for this purpose. And then we have 2 agricultural or aquaculture facilities, 2 chemical facilities, and 1 mining facility. Now, looking at the table, you can see that I have the list of all the facilities based on the use category. That's for agriculture, aquaculture, mining, or public water supply, and there's a description of how much of the water is being used per annum. And it's all measured in gallons, of course. And here I have a pie chart which represents how much water is being used by which sector is using how much of the water from this watershed. We have about 92% of the water being used as public water supply, while 6% is being used for chemicals, and 2% for agriculture and aquaculture, while just 1% is being used for a mining purpose. And here I have a 303D list, which was drafted by West Virginia DEP in 2016. So this is the latest update that I found. So according to this, my 303D list has about 17 streams, which run up to 149 miles in total. And here the first column has all the stream names, and some of the known issues with these regions was for testing for bacteria, iron, and CNA biological. And the TMDLs for most of it is going to be held in 2020, and I have just a few TMDLs for about 3 of them, which we'll see next. So here, according to this, I have a TMDL reported for dioxin, PCBs, and fecal coliform bacteria in the some parts of the lower Ohio River and in just Four Pole Creek. According to this, for the remaining watersheds, for the remaining streams of this watershed, the TMDL hasn't been conducted yet. Now, according to the US EPA, the Ohio River has been listed as a Region 3, and they had hired Orsanco to conduct all the tests and finish a TMDL report by the end of September 2000. Here I have some information regarding the dioxin that they had tested for, and this was just specific to the entire Ohio River, and it was at 0.013 picograms per liter, and this was based on the cancer risk level, of course. And here I have the TMDL reports for just the fecal coliform bacteria, and it's just found in the Four Pole Creek as of now. And I have just some of the readings, about 20 readings in this, and there are a lot more, but what we can see here is that at the mouth of the Four Pole Creek, there's the maximum fecal coliform at 14,000 per 100 milliliters. And then, like I said, the lower Ohio watershed is also known as Raccoon Symes, and here I have some information just for the upper Raccoon Creek watershed. And according to this, some of the references that was taken into account was the US EPA as well as the Ohio EPA, and they were testing for pH, alkalinity, iron, aluminum, and manganese, and also total dissolved solids. According to this, the target was to be within the limits. pH was to be between 6.5 and 9. Alkalinity was to be between at 20 milligrams per liter. Iron was supposed to be at 1000 micrograms per liter, and aluminum at 87 micrograms per liter, manganese at 2000, and total dissolved solids at 15 lakh milligrams per liter. On the right, I have a table which indicate some of the samples that collected in this region and tested, and they have run tests for pH, iron, aluminum, manganese, and TDS, and the lower half of this has been testing. The lower half of this table here is some of the samples that were tested with an alkalinity greater than 20, and like we already saw, the allowed standard was at 20 milligrams per liter. And when you actually look at this table, you can notice that for most of it, it has the samples have actually exceeded the allowed. It has exceeded the limits, and it's not keeping up with the water quality standards that has been set for these regions. And here I have the aluminum observations for just the Four Pole Creek watershed. And again, I have just about 20 of the readings and not the entire thing. And this was conducted in 2002 of September. And here are my references. Thank you.